Weeds might seem like a small issue in the beginning, something you can ignore for a few days, but if you leave them untreated, they spread quietly and aggressively, taking over your garden, your driveway, and even the smallest cracks in concrete, turning a simple problem into a constant struggle. Most people try removing weeds by hand, believing that pulling them out solves the problem, but what they don't realize is the root remains deep underground, and within just a few days, the same weed grows back again, often stronger than before. After repeating this process multiple times, people become frustrated and start searching for stronger solutions, which usually leads them to chemical weed killers, thinking that these products will finally solve the problem permanently. But these chemical solutions come with hidden costs. They can damage your soil over time, harm nearby plants, and even create risks for pets or children, especially when used repeatedly in the same area. And the more you rely on these products, the more dependent you become, buying them again and again, spending more money every season without actually solving the root cause of the problem. But what if the real solution was already in your home, something simple, something cheap, something you might already have in your kitchen but never thought could be used this way? A simple $2 household liquid that doesn't require tools, doesn't require scrubbing, and works in a completely different way than traditional chemical weed killers, making it both simple and effective. Instead of focusing only on the visible part of the weed, this method works by understanding how weeds actually survive deep beneath the surface, where most people never look. Because the real problem is not the leaves, not the stem, but the root system hidden below the soil, constantly feeding the plant and allowing it to grow back again and again. If the root survives, the weed will always return no matter how many times you cut it, pull it, or spray it, which is why most common methods fail over time. When this liquid is applied properly, it begins to break down the plant slowly, starting from the leaves, then moving through the stem, and eventually affecting the root system itself. As this process continues, the plant gradually loses its strength, the leaves begin to dry, and the entire structure weakens over time, without aggressive action. And once the root becomes weak enough, it can no longer support new growth, which means the weed stops coming back, breaking the cycle completely. This is what makes this method different. It doesn't just remove weeds temporarily, it helps prevent future growth, reducing the need for constant maintenance. And because it's simple and low cost, it doesn't require repeated use like expensive chemical products, making it a smarter long-term solution. But here's something interesting to think about. If this method is so simple and effective, why don't more people talk about it or use it regularly? In many cases, simple and low-cost solutions don't get much attention, not because they don't work, but because they don't generate long-term profit, and that's why people often overlook them, even when they are effective. Instead, people are guided toward expensive products that promise fast results, but require repeated use, turning a one-time problem into an ongoing expense over time. And for beginners, this becomes confusing because they assume the more expensive the product is, the more effective it must be, even when that's not always true. So understanding how weeds actually grow and what keeps them alive becomes the most important step before choosing any method, whether simple or complex. To use this method properly, you don't need any special equipment, you don't need professional tools. All you need is the right timing and a simple application process. Start by identifying areas where weeds grow repeatedly, especially along edges between tiles, or in cracks where roots are protected and harder to reach. These areas are often ignored, but they are the most stubborn because the roots stay hidden and protected, making traditional removal methods less effective. Now slowly apply the liquid directly onto the leaves and stems, making sure every part of the plant is covered evenly so the reaction can begin properly. As the liquid settles, it starts reacting with the plant surface, breaking down the structure gradually instead of instantly, which makes the process more controlled. Within a few hours, you may start noticing early changes. The leaves begin to curl, lose their color, and show signs of weakening. And over the next 1 or 2 days, the plant continues to weaken as the effect slowly travels downward, reaching the root system beneath. This is the most important stage, because once the roots begin to weaken, the plant loses its ability to grow again, stopping the cycle completely. For best results, always apply this method during dry weather, because it allows the liquid to stay longer on the plant, increasing its effectiveness. Also make sure to apply it carefully only on weeds, because this solution does not differentiate between unwanted plants and healthy ones. One small mistake during application can affect nearby plants, especially in tight spaces where everything grows close together. But when used correctly, this method becomes one of the simplest, most effective, and most affordable ways to control weeds. And unlike expensive products, you don't need to keep buying new solutions every few weeks to maintain your garden. This means you save money, reduce effort, and spend less time dealing with the same problem again and again. And once the weeds are gone, maintaining your space becomes much easier because the root problem has already been addressed. This allows your garden, your driveway, and your outdoor space to stay clean, organized, and visually appealing for longer. Simple solutions like this are often overlooked, not because they don't work, but because they are too easy and too accessible. But once you understand how weeds grow and what keeps them alive, you gain control over the problem instead of reacting to it. So before you spend money again on expensive weed killers, take a moment to think, because sometimes the simplest solution is already in your home, waiting to be used.